Ghilardi feels like a massive operation. We're talking just over 10 million euros. That's the number we predicted here. And one of the most promising, dynamic, responsible leadership, right? That's one tenet of his play, is Roma acquire a young defensive Italian center back who's going to lead them for the years to come. And we look at a player like Gianluca Mancini. He's been such a excellent captain, I think, and some people will disagree with me. But I believe that he really has been. And having Ghilardi learn from him, and also having somebody like Indica, that back three is going to be awesome. There's going to be other players, right? I think Hermoso is going to end up staying, as well as Kumbula. So maybe there's going to be some depth this year at the center back position. That would be really great. We know that if you've been a Roma fan a long time, you know that there years have passed where we've had players like Cristante who have played center back, who are not natural at that position at all, but he did a fine job there. Other stopgaps, I even think to like Paradiso years ago, and him being slotted around from left back to left center back to sweeper at times. So different variations of what happens. So it would be really great to see some stability and some depth back there. So Ghilardi is done. That's it's going to happen. And that's coming out of one of the most respected, probably the most respected journalist for AS Roma. That's Filippo Biafora. So him just pronouncing it right there. You can take a look. I think I got to stop that real quick, the little clip below, or I'll just click on this to avoid it. So yeah, he's massive. He's the U21 captain. U21, and they got pretty far in European play. I think to the championship, maybe the Euro 2023 under 21 championship. So excellent, along with Leone, who's probably going to end up going to Inter. Camuzzo, he's another center back. So there's a couple promising young players, and Roma have their hands on one, along with Baldanzi, who I'm hoping that stays, as well as Pisilli. It seems that Roma suddenly have a nice young core of Italian talent, and that's something that the team of Rome should have. I think, team of the capital of Italy should have a good, prosperous youth center or up and comers. Some how do you say? That should be a facet. That should be fundamental, I think, to the team. Always, you have to be part of the national team, be its core. Like in years past, right? It's always Juventus, but you think of the Italy and the Azzurris who have done really well in 2006. You had De Rossi, Totti, and Simone Perotta. So three guys who influenced, and Italy wouldn't have won it if it wasn't without those three, and particularly Perotta and Totti, of course. Also, Vasquez comes over from Milan. That one's for free. And there is Nusa, who's out of Rebel Leipzig, who's been mentioned as the left winger that could possibly come into Roma. I don't think it's going to happen. I think maybe that ship has sailed. He is going to go, I think, end up going for big money to perhaps, let's say, a bigger team. Park Zhao is going to go to Marseille. It's looking like that agreement has been reached. I think Fabrizio Romano announced that earlier today. But another player that we need to discuss that was finally official today before it seemed like he might have had to be sent back to Brazil, and that is Wesley. And let's take a look at him. This is a player who was pursued by Gasperini not just this past season, but in years before. So we have a player that he's wanted for a while, and he fits in very well at right back position. It's not really a right back. It's a right wing back, but it's really a guy who roves up and down the right side. If you've been paying attention to his clips recently, he's done pretty well in international play. He was in the Club World Cup, which was played right in my backyard. He was part of Brazil for the 2022 Copa Libertadores. So high pressure, high stakes, high press. All those things make him, I think, hopefully a really good player. It's not chump change. It's 25 plus 5, could end up being 30 million euros here. So while he might not be the quintessential right back as far as his defensive positioning, he's got that pace, he's got that physicality, the attacking instincts, and this is why he is an ideal player under Gasp. So I think that this was the guy that Roma really needed to get at this position. It seems like he is going to be a very good fit. He's going to have that more offensive. I think we're going to end up seeing him overlapping even the right winger at times, or I should say the right center forward, because Gasperini plays if you think of De Keletare along with Retegui, and the two of them last year played almost like two tandem center forwards with Lookman drifting behind them at times. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's definitely going to be way advanced position-wise. What else is going on in the Roma sphere? The Dovbyk situation, and why I say a situation, it's slowly been creeping up. So he's injured, which is why he hasn't been given time in the friendlies. It's been 2 or 3 thus far, right? The first one was like another team. It was Testaccio. And then the one the other day, I forget who it was, but Roma beat them as well. Dovbyk had, 3 goals and an assist in the first 33 minutes. And then there was Kaiserslautern yesterday and Ferguson, or 2 days ago, and was that Saturday, and Ferguson scored again, the only goal of the match. I'm starting to get that feeling like the Irish young center forward is going to be the starter, and it's not going to be Dovbyk. And I think that's why you're starting to see these reports like, oh, interest from Turkey, and today I woke up and I see interest from the Premier League. Like, okay, something's going on. There's eyes on Dovbyk. Does the Ukrainian, in the prime of his career, want to stick around and possibly be benched for this new up-and-comer, a player who's really respected? Like, Ferguson's no slouch. If he gets his confidence, he's going to be banging in goals left and right, which, of course, we're thrilled about, right? But if you're a center forward in your prime and you can get that bigger contract and you could be the star without, like, a direct rival, which is what Ferguson is emerging to be, then he's got to have a decision to make. On the back end of that, who does Roma get in place? I read reports today that Roma possibly looking into the Vlahovic situation. That would be absolutely bonkers. I love Vlahovic. He's a player I loved at Fiorentina, and I was very sad to see him go to Juventus, especially the way that they handled that economically. Where, if you remember, or if you ever saw, the way that Juventus afforded Vlahovic was they got a direct cash injection from their shareholders. So, like, they just told the shareholders and the ownership, like, you have to pay. We're going to buy this player. It wasn't anything based upon, oh, yeah, we made Champions League last year, and suddenly we're flush with money, and we're going to be able to pay for it. It wasn't anything like that. They literally, you can look it up, got a cash injection for the exact same amount that Vlahovic cost, brought him in, and couldn't get him to replicate what he did at Fiorentina. And part of that is Max Allegri's fault. Part of that is Vlahovic has been a little bit of a mope. I think it's fair to say. Like, it's not just all Juventus's fault. Eventually, like, you're a pro, you got to pick yourself up and be positive and work hard for your team. Doesn't mean he's not a situation that I would also keep my eye on and love to see in Rome, because under Gasperini, Vlahovic would be a capocannoniere, like, easily, in my opinion. So between him and Ferguson, or Ferguson and anybody else, there's plenty of matches to go around. Who I think it's going to be is another story. I think it's Gianluca Scamacca. I think he, along with every other big player from Atalanta, leaves, and it would make the most sense that he comes back to Rome, where he played as a youth player, and he was in the Primavera, and then he was sold off. I don't know if he went somewhere before Atalanta. I think he may have went directly there. And then, of course, there was the famous incident where his father, I think, broke into Trigoria and threw the bonsai, the coveted, highly regarded bonsai trophy that Roma won, was it like against a Major League Soccer team or something ridiculous? So, yeah, I think it's going to be Scamacca, to be honest with you, if Dovbyk leaves. Do I want to see Dovbyk fight for his place? Kind of. Look, Dovbyk doesn't press well, which Gasperini demands. He's not a good layoff forward. But I think that under this manager, he'll be playing off the shoulder of the last defender, which is what he likes to do. He doesn't like to be in build-up. He likes to play more direct. And nothing is going to make him fast. Not even Gasperade, I think, is going to do the trick for him. But he can definitely be a 20-goal, 22, 23-goal per season player here. I'm talking just Serie A, not including Coppa Italia and Europa League. So we'll see what happens there. But definitely watch that space to come. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look for the new jersey on the Adidas website. I think that's the best place if you're looking for it. Don't look at Roma, especially if you're American or you're Canadian. Look at adidas.com, and you can set the alert. It's sold out right now, but I set the alert. So as soon as it's back in stock, I get an email. And I don't pay shipping charges because I'm part of, like, the Me Club, MI. I also get a teacher discount, which is pretty cool, 30%. So hats off to Adidas for being cool to teachers. Nike doesn't give that. Nike only gives me like 10%. But anyway, I digress. So you can set that alert. They'll tell you exactly when that shirt is back in stock. You can get it, no shipping fee, no taxes, no customs duties, or anything like that. So I'm going to look to maybe get it engraved, though. I don't think you can do that off the I don't think you can get a customization off the Adidas website, but we'll see. I'll look into it. I can't wait to get my hands on that, though. We'll talk soon. Let me know what you think. Well, it's crazy stuff here. 3 players, right? Vasquez, Ghilardi about to join, and Wesley. Big day. Talk soon.